I want to share a secret with you. I have an odd little morning ritual. It's become something I do pretty much every morning. You know, you wake up and you brush your teeth and you're kind of getting into the day. I keep a small pair of scissors next to my sink. And at some point every morning, I take those scissors and I lean real close into the mirror and I try to isolate and snip gray hairs. You know, the gray ones are a little more wiry, and so you can isolate them a little bit better, and you try to snip them so that they go away. Now, it's a battle I'm slowly losing, okay? But every morning, it's like I see them, and they're this reminder that I don't know if I'm ready to age just yet. Strange, right? I mean, you don't have to laugh about it either. I mean, I'm trying to be vulnerable with you here. But it is. This is gray hairs. I don't like them. Don't like them at all. I'm 36 now. And I remember when I turned 30, that was like an emotional, I don't know, I felt like something had changed. And I think part of it was because I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I kind of took the long route through college. Thank God I got married in my 20s because I'd probably still be wandering around aimlessly. But I turned 30 and I wasn't quite established in my vocation yet. I'd only been out of grad school for about a year. We had just had Olivia, which was great, but I just felt like I was a half step behind all of my friends and peers, when I turned 30, and I thought, golly, I kind of wasted a chunk of my 20s. Turning 30 was depressing for me. I don't know why. I'm 36 now, and the truth is I'm kind of looking forward to turning 40. Like, I'm not nearly as afraid of getting older. And I think part of that's because I'm 36, which makes me too old to be cool, but I'm not old enough to be wise. I'm like in this weird in-between thing, Like, I have no idea what's cool anymore. I'm way too old to be cool. But I'm not old enough yet to be wise. So I'm kind of looking forward to maybe wisdom is coming. Who knows? Aging, right? We've been talking about fears all this month, and this is our last one. I'm calling it, for lack of a better phrase, I'm really calling it fear of the end. That we all have a fear of aging and eventually dying, don't we? Now, some of us in differing measures. Some of us have gained enough wisdom that we're not nearly as afraid as maybe we once were. But all of us have this nagging fear inside of us of aging and eventually dying. It happens to everybody, right? You're not going to get out of this life alive. Nobody's done it yet. Well, one guy did, but, he was exceptional. But for the rest of us, you're not going to get out of it alive. And it's kind of scary to think about. Why do we fear aging and dying? This fear grows, by the way. I think one of the things that feeds the fear of aging and dying is the older we get, the more our bodies can't do what they once could do. You ever have that feeling? For example, I regularly want to go to the gym. I don't regularly actually get over there, but I regularly want to go to the gym. And this past week, I go with Katie, and, we had a morning off, and it's lovely, and we're working out. It's couples day. It's just wonderful. And I get home, and the next day, I wake up, and it's got this splitting pain in my back. And I was like, good gracious, I can't even go to the gym the way I once did for hurting. My body just is not allowing it. And your body breaking down kind of feeds that fear a little bit of the end, doesn't it? Because it's this reminder that my body is slowly breaking down. And we fear dying, don't we? When I was in seminary, my preaching professor told us that in every funeral, you're preaching against two deaths. One is death with a little d, that's the death of the saint. And you're reminding everybody that through the power of God, that this death is not the end, right? That there is redemption to be had. But the second death, he said, is death with an uppercase D. Every person at a funeral is likely sitting there, grieving the loss of a loved one, and also wondering about their own death. You're faced with your own mortality when you go to a funeral, aren't you? I mean, how many of us have sat there and, in between things, say, I wonder what they're going to say at my funeral. I wonder who's going to be there. I wonder whatever it is. We fear death. We fear the end. It's interesting. Why do we fear the end so much? There's probably different reasons, but one I thought of this week is, I wonder if one of the big fears of the end is fear that maybe we didn't use our life in the best way possible. Maybe we wasted time, like me grieving over wasting some of my 20s, right? And we want a sense of significance. We want a sense of meaning. We want to feel like we left an impact on the world. And we fear the end because there's this sneaking feeling, maybe, that we're not living into a purpose. We're not making an impact. Day in, day out, to-do list, calendars, da-da-da-da-da, back and forth, and we don't live with a sense of intentionality and purpose. And the older we get, the more life that's behind us than in front of us, maybe that becomes a sneaking fear. I'm not doing enough. I haven't done enough. Where does God want me to go next? The book of Nehemiah, it's a wonderful book, fascinating book. Nehemiah and Ezra together are the last historical account of the Jewish people in the Christian Bible. That's the last one, from there, about 5th century BCE. But from there, our Bible shifts into the New Testament after that. And what's happened is the people are back in Jerusalem after a long season of exile. And a couple of things happen during this exile. One is they start like rubbing elbows with different cultures, and so the traditions, the purity, the stringent way that they followed their faith, the law of Moses, kind of gets diluted because you start adapting different ways and living with different people and all that. So they don't have that sense of faith that binds them together as strongly anymore. The other thing that happened is that Jerusalem, being a great city in this day, one of the ways that you were a great city is that you were ready just in case of military invasion. And so there was no wall around the city of Jerusalem. Nehemiah becomes the governor of Judah, and one of the first things he wants to do is to build this wall because it gives the city a reinvigorated sense of pride. They want to follow the law. They want to be an established great city that Jerusalem once was. But they're aimless. They just don't know where to go next. Ezra, the scribe, opens the law of Moses and reads to them. And they weep. This is the stuff of their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. This is the stuff of who they are. This is the stuff that makes them have a sense of purpose in life. Nehemiah says, let's build this wall so we have a job to do, an act of significance that we can come together and do something to make an impact on the world. So what has this got to do with the fear of aging and dying? It's a reminder to us that God has a purpose for your life. No matter what age you are, no matter what stage of life you're in, God has a purpose for you. Beyond to-do list, beyond the tedious task, beyond the stuff that you just feel like you're floating from one day to the next, to the next, to the next. There's a deep sense of purpose on your life. Did you know that? Now, this sense of purpose can shift with ages and stages of life. I think about my mother and some of her friends at my home church. When we were little, 30 years ago, they were all, volunteering with the children's department. That's just what young parents did, right? It's what they do in this church, too. Well, what happened is their kids aged, they left home, all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what she and some of her friends are back to doing? Working with the children's department again. Now in grandmotherly type roles, but they love it, and it's given them a sense of purpose in the church. For so long, their sense of purpose has been linked to their own children. Well, we're all gone. But now they have a sense of purpose and service. They love these children that are not theirs, but yet they are, because we're the church, and we're all family, right? We all have a sense of purpose. Wherever you are in your life, God is calling you to do something, to be something, to give something. What is it for you? What is it that maybe could break the rhythm of just wandering from one day to the next and give you a sense of purpose again? I mentioned earlier that we have this leadership retreat coming next week, and I'm hoping it's going to be a lot of fun. I know it'll be a lot of fun. But I want to maybe throw out a challenge to you that I want you to come and check it out. Not because I want you to be busy for the church, but if we do nothing else in the life of the church, we are a meaning-making environment. The church is a place where you can find meaning in your life. I don't want you to come be busy for the church. I want you to connect with God and find a sense of purpose. And maybe it is participating in the life of the church. Maybe there's a ministry with your name on it that would make you come alive, right? Howard Thurman has a great quote, I can't remember it verbatim, where the world doesn't need people to be busy. The world needs people that are fully alive. Because people who are fully alive, Thurman says, those are the people who make a difference in the world. Maybe there's a ministry with your name on it. It doesn't matter your age or your stage of life. Maybe there's a sense of purpose that we can connect you with, that you could come alive by the power of God. And maybe it's not from the leadership retreat. But I want to make you an offer as your pastor that if you're searching for a sense of purpose, that maybe we can talk one-on-one. There is something in your life that will make you come alive and serve and give. Here's the thing with the fear of aging and dying. When a loved one dies, an amazing thing happens, even stronger than the grief we have for losing them in this life. Have you ever lost that loved one, but then there was this deep sense of joy that you feel too, even in your loss? I mean, I could give you the theological constructs of why there's life beyond this life, and I could tell you that, by the power of the death and resurrection of Jesus, that we are promised this new life and resurrection and all that stuff. But those are theological constructs. I think more about the funerals that I've done and been a part of and seen of amazing, wonderful, loving people. And even when we gather and we're sad because they're not physically with us anymore, the joy of the Lord is our strength. And I've seen the joy of the Lord be the strength of people even in times of loss, because what they realize is despite their loss, they're reminded of how much that person gave them, how much they received. You want to give that gift to someone. One day, there will be a funeral for you, and the joy of the Lord will fill the people who gather because you followed a sense of purpose, because you listened to the voice of God, because you dared to do something beyond yourself, beyond your busyness, to follow God's leading, to love and to serve and to give, to fill your life with amazing things. What could it be for you? I mentioned last week my favorite poet, Mary Oliver, passed away. I'm still very sad about it because what a gift Mary Oliver is to the world. I want to share with you another poem that she has. It's just amazing. It's entitled When Death Comes. When death comes like the hungry bear in autumn, when death comes and takes all the bright coins from his purse to buy me and snaps the purse shut, when death comes like the measles pox, when death comes like an iceberg between the shoulder blades, I want to step through the door full of curiosity, wondering, what is it going to be like, that cottage of darkness? And therefore I look upon everything as a brotherhood and a sisterhood, and I look upon time as no more than an idea, and I consider eternity as another possibility. And I think of each life as a flower, as common as a field daisy, and as singular. And each name a comfortable music in the mouth, tending, as all music does, towards silence. And each body a lion of courage, and something precious to the earth. When it's over, I want to say all my life, I was a bride, married to amazement. I was the bridegroom, taking the world into my arms. When it's over, I don't want to wonder if I have made of my life something particular and real. I don't want to find myself sighing and frightened or full of argument. I don't want to end up simply having visited the world. By the power of the living God, you can spend every day of your life as a bride, married to amazement. I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot more fulfilling than just wandering from one to-do list to the next. That sounds a lot more enriching than just wandering from one task to the next and letting things like fear and stress and even fear of the end of my life overtake me. To live this life with purpose and meaning, called by God, to give of yourself above and beyond what you could even imagine. Be married to amazement. amazement in the living God. Amen. Hey, thanks for watching the latest sermon here at historic Trinity Church in Savannah, Georgia. I'm Reverend Ben Gostin. I'm the senior pastor here at Trinity Church. And I want to take this opportunity to invite you. If you're ever in Savannah, Georgia, we would love for you to visit us on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. We're located on Telfair Square, been here since 1848. Also, you can check out the comments below for a way to give if you feel so led. Again, you're welcome anytime here at Trinity Church.